We'll chant Om 3 times, followed by the invocation shlokas.
I need to copy the invocation shloka, or if you can put it on the top of the screen, that will be helpful.
I put it in chat window, Shobhaji.
How do I go about to that? Okay.
If you swipe to the right, you can see chat at the bottom, and then if you just swipe, it should show up.
We'll chant Om 3 times, followed by the invocation shlokas. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. So we'll chant the Mangalacharanam for Upadesha Sara. One of you please repeat after me. Antaryascha bahirvidhutatimiram
Antaryascha bahirvidutatimiram
Jyotirmayam Shashvatam
Jyotirmayam Shashvatam
Sthanam Prapya Virajate Vinamatam
Anam Prapye Virajate Nimadatam
Ajnanamunmulayan
Ajnanamunmulayan
Pashyan Vishwamapidamullasatiyo
Pashvam Vishwam Ullathasatiyo
Vishwasya Pare Paraha
Vishwasya Pare Para
Tasmai Shri Ramanaya Loka Gurave
Tasmai Sri Ramanaya Lokagurave
Shokasya Hantre Namaha.
Shokasya Hantre Namaha.
So in Upadesha Sara, Bhagavan Raman Maharshi has completed both Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, and he started with Raja Yoga or Hatha Yoga. And in last session, we saw the overview of Ashtanga Yoga. And in here, Bhagavan is specifically talking about pranayama aspect in the shloka when he said, Vayurodhanat liyate manaha jalapakshivat rodha sadhanam. Rodha is a control and rodha sadhanam is instrument of control. Now, how do we control, control in the sense, how do we capture birds that are free and flying all over? That is done through a net. In the same way, the mind that is flying all over, it is here 1 second and next second it is somewhere else, way beyond our universe. How are we able to control it? So for that, Vayu Rodhana. Rodhana means control. control of Vayu. With that, we can control the mind. Now that controlling of that Vayu is what we call as pranayama. So that pranayama, using the pranayama as the sadhana, pranayama as an instrument, we can control the mind. Then we have seen this control of mind. In last session, we talked about there are different types of pranayamas, and they contain different types, like as in Purakam, Kumbhakam, Antarkumbhakam. Antarkumbhakam is Purakam is inhalation. Antarkumbhakam is holding the air inside our body. Rechakam is exhalation, and Bahirkumbhakam is after you exhale, you don't take in the next inhalation. So like that, with that we can control the pranas, and with the control of pranas, we can control the mind. But also, we also talked about the other type, the earlier one, what we call as Pratishtambhana. The other one is, simple one is Prana Vikshana, where you really are not controlling the breath, but simply observing your every inhalation and every exhalation. Just like when there is a police on a highway, the cars that are zooming past at 90, 80 miles an hour, suddenly they all come into under the speed limit and they pass carefully. In the same way, when our mind is observing our breath without any external, any active change, it automatically slows down. When that happens, that in turn slows down the mind. Now, when Bhagavan said that, he also said in the next shloka, he said, Chittavaya vas chit kriya yutaha shakhayortvai shakti mulakaha. Here, Bhagavan is hinting why this happens. Okay? He says that this chit kriya yuta or chit vayu, this vayu, okay, and chitta and vayu. Chitta is referring to the mind, and vayu is referring to our breathing process. They both are connected. How are they connected? Shakti is talking about, here he's talking about Prakriti, has got two branches, okay? And one branch is calling as Jnana Shakti, others is calling as Kriya Shakti. And in the last session, we talked about how Chit, or our mind, is associated with Jnana Shakti, because in Manomaya Kosha, Manas and Jnanendriyas are there. Hence, mind is associated with Jnana Shakti, and mind is also part of Pranamaya Kosha, because Manas and Karmendriyas are there. So, Kriya Shakti is also associated with Pranamaya Kosha. Okay? So, mind is also associated with both Pranamaya and Manomaya, and Pranamaya has got Kriya Shakti and Manomaya has got Jnana Shakti. Now, this Maya Shakti, when we said Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, sometimes you may have heard different terms as you're studying Vedanta. If you haven't heard these terms before, nothing wrong. Okay, no worries. But if you heard like different terms, I just want to make sure we reconcile all those terms. For example, we study that Maya is Trigunatmika. What are those Trigunatmika? Three gunas are there. What are these three gunas? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Then, if you have studied standard Vedanta texts such as Viveka Chudamani or even Durudusha Viveka that we covered a while ago, there you probably recall that there are terms like Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti, which are capabilities of the mind. Now here in this text, we are talking about Kriya Shakti and Jnana Shakti, which are capabilities of mind. So, what are these terms and how are they related to each other? Okay, so that is what we will now spend a few minutes on that. Okay. Now, in this context of the text here, we talked about Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. And there is a third one which within this context, which did not come, which is not referred, but within this context, there's another Shakti called Ichha Shakti. So, if you look at the Shakti of Maya, power of Maya, there are three powers. Ichha, Kriya, and Jnana. Three Shaktis are there. Okay. Now, Ichha means what? Desire. Kriya means action. Jnana means knowledge. Now, if you see this, and if you look at Sattva, Rajas, and Tamo Gunas, how do you relate? The simple one, let us start. Kriya Shakti. It goes with, which guna does it go with? Kriya Shakti.
Rajas.
Rajas.
It goes with Rajas. Good. Okay. Then Jnana. Jnana means knowledge. It should go with
Sattva.
Sattva. Okay. So Jnana is knowledge. Sattva is, you understand that Sattva and Jnana are related. Now Ichha then by default should go with Tamas. So how is Tamas and Ichha related? What is Tamas doing? Is essentially, Tamas is same as Avarana Shakti, which is veiling our intellect. Because what this is doing is that it is veiling our true nature, the Tamas, because Tamas is darkness. Okay, Tamas is darkness, right? It is veiling our true nature. Now, what happened is that I don't know my true nature anymore. What is my true nature? My true nature is I am Brahman. I am Satchit Ananda Brahman who is complete. Advaita, meaning one and only one. Everything is within me. There is nothing other than me. That is my true nature. But now what happened because of this? That Brahman, which is infinite, I am. Now what happened is that because of this veiling or this ignorance, I am identifying with this body that is there here, right here. This body means like I'm not talking about just the physical body, the mind also. So the physical body is this physical body, of course, the mind as well, which is Sukshma Sharira. Okay. Physical body is Sthula Sharira, mind is Sukshma Sharira, and the cause of these two is Karna Sharira. So I am identifying with these three, and then what happened? Suddenly when I see, where is this infinite me? Where is this me who is packed up in this small body? Okay, with so many limitations. And I superimpose the limitations of this body on me. This body is becoming old. I think I'm becoming old. This body, his head became bald. I think that I became bald. Okay. One day, there is a little bit of a happiness and I have a happy thoughts and I think I am happy. Okay. Then there are sorrowful thoughts. Then I think I am sorrow. I am in sorrow. So this is what is happening. Now, because of all of this, what is happening? I want to gain more and more so that I am complete. So what I'm trying to do is that because I'm in delusion, I know I'm thinking that I'm finite and I want to become infinite. But the way I'm going is wrong. What is the way I'm going? I'm going outward and I'm saying that I want to grab this, I want to grab that, I want to own this, own that, and become bigger and somehow become infinite. So this is where the desire is starting. So because of that tamas, which we also call as avarna shakti, there is a desire to become bigger and better. Okay, so that is why Ichha Shakti. So that Ichha Shakti. So now we talked about Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Ichha Shakti mapped to Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Okay, so this part is clear. Yes. Okay. Now we also said Avarna Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Okay, from the other texts. Okay. So what Avarna Shakti, we just said just now, Avarna Shakti is the veiling power, which means that it is same as tamas. Now, when Avarna happens, there is a Vikshepa. Vikshepa means agitation. Okay. Now, agitation, where would it land?
In the mind.
Agitation lands with Jnana or Kriya Shakti or Ichha Shakti.
Ichha Shakti.
Agitation goes with Kriya Shakti or Rajas because when you are disturbed, when you are agitated, you want to do something about it. Okay? As a result, agitation or Vikshepa Shakti goes with Kriya Shakti or goes with Rajas. Okay? Any questions around that? Then sometimes, okay, sometimes you may also hear terms such as Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya. Did any of you hear this Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya terms before?
No.
That's all right. Okay, so if you haven't, you are hearing it for the first time now. Okay, or maybe eventually you will hear at some place later on. So now all our actions are based upon our ajnana, that I am finite, so I want to become infinite, so that's why I'm doing one thing or other thing, etc. So that means all our rajas is based upon our tamas. Okay. So, and tamas we just now said is ignorance or avidya. So tamas and rajas together, they are considered as avidya maya. Okay. So this, as long as I'm trying to do something about my ignorance and like I'm working in this world, like in the secular world, what happens is that I will stay in secular world alone. I will never get freedom. So this Rajoguna and Tamoguna together are called as Avidya Maya. But the Sattva guna, on the other hand, helps me rise above. And if I use this properly, this Sattva guna, it will help me with my liberation. So this aspect, this Sattva guna is considered as Vidya Maya. Okay? So Vidya Maya, Avidya Maya. Avarna Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Sattva Rajas Tamas and then Kriya, then Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Ichha Shakti. So these are all like, the point is that you may be hearing different terms in different texts at different times, and everywhere it says that Maya has 3 powers or 2 powers. But you see like a list here, a list there, a list there. So how many powers does Maya really have? Okay, so that's why I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of different terms and how they are all interlinked or related. Okay, so coming back, Chitta Vayavat Chit Kriyayutaha Shakayordvayi Shakti Mulakaha. So this Shakti, okay, got two branches and they are joined. Okay, I mean, there is a third. What about the third branch? Didn't you just say that there are three branches? Yes, we talked about it. But for this context, we are only interested in this Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. Okay, so now what we are doing is that when there are two branches, okay, even like, I mean, these two fingers, if you see, okay, they are connected to the same palm. Now, this is a lower and this is higher. And if somehow, if I pull this, you see automatically the top finger is also coming down. Okay. So this is the technique that has been used by pranayama. Now, so by using this pranayama, what happened is that mind is pulled down. Okay. Now, when mind is pulled down, what happened is that we are catching the mind. However, what happens is that this mind itself, okay, this particular thing, I mean, like this particular thing, this bird, okay, so we take the example of bird, okay. Bird is tied up or caught in net. What does it mean? It got caught in net and it is staying there. It cannot be in the net for rest of its life. Okay? It has to come out of net. The moment it comes out of net, what happens? It flies. Now, when it flies, then what? The mind is not available. So this prana vayu, control of breath, and controlling the mind through control of breath is also temporary. Okay. So there is a limitation to this, and that limitation is being talked in shloka number 13. Okay. So let us read that shloka. First, I will break down the verses, okay, the phrase, and then we will go. Laya Vinashani. Together becomes Laya Vinashani. Ubhaya Rodhane. Okay. Laya, Ubhaya and Rodhane together becomes Ubhaya Rodhane. Laya Gatam together becomes Laya Gatam. Punaha Bhavati. Okay. Punaha Bhavati together becomes Punar Bhavati. Punar Bhavati. No. It is actually na and u together become no. Okay. No mrutam. Okay. So this is the shloka. So one of you please go off mute and repeat after me. Laya vinashane ubhayarodhane.
Laya vinashane ubhayarodhane.
Layagatam punar bhavati no mrutam.
Layagatam punar bhavati no mrutam.
So by the control of prana, laya vinashani meaning, okay, laya means it is basically dissolution, okay, dissolution or destruction, etc. Okay, so laya vinashane ubhaya rodhane. Ubhaya, restraint of the mind, okay, is of actually laya vinashane meaning by the control of pranas, the mind is becoming still and it is becoming absorbed. This is laya. Okay, so that means the mind is temporarily become still. This is laya. Now, Ubhaya Rodhana. Ubhayarodhane bhavataha. Okay. Ubhayarodhana, what does this mean is, this rodhana, this restraint of the mind is of twofold. One is called as laya, other is called as nasha or vinasha. Okay. So, so this laya is temporary dissolution, nasha is somewhat permanent destruction. So then, manolaya, what does that mean? Stillness of mind is manolaya. Manonasha means destruction of the mind. Okay. Now, so there are like two types. One is, we said, manolaya, other is manonasha. So one of them is temporary, other is permanent. Now, what exactly destruction of mind? Okay, because in the 11th shloka, it said, Vayurodhanat liyate manaha. Liyate manaha means it is talking about manolaya. Manolaya is being talked there. So that means that a temporary dissolution of the mind was talked about. The stillness of mind is talked about. Whereas manonasha, what does it mean? It is destruction of mind means, it's kind of a scary term. When you say manonasha, I won't have mind anymore, I'll become mindless. Okay. So if I become mindless, I need to join in a mental hospital. Is that what it is? Okay. Manonasha is not that. Okay. Manonasha is destruction of the mind from Vedanta perspective is different from destruction of the mind that someone goes through either because like in movies, they got hit on the head, or maybe some usage of recreational drugs or whatever. That is not manonasha. Manonasha, from a Vedantic perspective, is this way, right? Right now, my mind, how does it operate? It is my mind. What is my mind? First of all, my mind is flow of thoughts. And where are these thoughts coming from? These thoughts are coming from vasanas. And all of these vasanas, what are they saying? That I want this, I want that. Okay, vasanas are essentially, I like something. Vasanas are two kinds, raga and dvesha, meaning likes and dislikes. I like to be in a particular situation, and I don't want to be in a particular situation. I like to be in the presence of these objects. I want to avoid these objects. I want to be in this particular state of health. I don't want to be in that other state of health. Like that, pretty much, either with respect to people, with respect to situations, with respect to environment, there are likes and dislikes, and those likes and dislikes are expressed as vasanas. And these vasanas, in every thought, what happens? In every thought that we have, there are two parts. Actually, right in here, in this text, later on, Bhagavan Ravana Maharshi ji says, what he says is that there's a concept of I is there, and then the concept of the world is there in every thought. So these vasanas, they are hungry for all of these worldly objects. Okay, so either based on raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, it doesn't matter. Like all of these are based on our vasanas. And this mind is just the flow of thoughts, and that flow where each thought is pushing me to do one thing or don't do this, go here, go there, don't be here, be at those 10 places at the same time, do these 5 things at the same time. Okay. And in the process, if you hurt somebody, so what? Because that's what I like. So this kind of a thing that is there, that is being, a stop is being put to that. Okay. So This is not like, I don't know, what's your name? I don't know. I don't remember. That is not the destruction of mind. Destruction of mind is destruction of likes and dislikes in us and destruction of those vasanas in us. So that way, there is no pressure in our mind. Okay, that is manonasha. Okay, so understand the difference between manolaya and manonasha. So, layagatam manaha, when the mind is controlled, manaha, this mind, when it is in laya, okay, what happened? It is going to punarbhavati. Bhavati means exist. Punaha bhavati means exists again, meaning it comes to existence again. That means that it is born again. So it is not much different from when I go to sleep, my mind out. What exactly going to sleep? That is, my mind is resting. When my mind is resting and it is not doing any business with any of my organs of action and organs of sense, yes, when it is not doing any business with any of them and it is not what you call like, it is not accepting any new thoughts either from vasanas, then that is what our sleep is. So that, but again, just like the mind that went to sleep is going to rise again next morning, right? In the same way, with pranayama, when we control mind, that mind is going to come back. And no mrutam, no, you can think about no as English no, okay? But, okay, and as I said, no is na and u together. Na, u, mrutam means, na mrutam means no death. U is, it is emphasizing, oh God, that it didn't die, kind of a thing, okay? So this no mrutam, it is saying that no matter how much we control the mind through pranayama, it is going to come back. Okay, manunasha will not come back. So, how does manunasha happens is the destruction of mind, which is rooted in individuality. My individuality is rooted in ignorance, and it is associated with raga, dvesha, bhaya, etc. So, as a seeker, I'm not just looking for manolaya, but I'm looking for mano nasha, which is permanent restraint on the mind. Okay. So now what happens is it possible? Of course it is possible, says Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. And how is this possible? He describes in shloka number 14. Before we go there, I want to pause here and see if you have any questions.
So by doing pranayama, we are controlling the mind. We are like, or we are bringing it back from the control.
So we are temporarily restraining the mind during pranayama.
Okay.
Okay.
But our goal is to permanently restrain it.
Yes, our goal is to restrain it permanently. Now, does it mean pranayama is useless? No, 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 that's not useless. It has a purpose. Okay.
Right.
Okay. What is that purpose is what we are going to see in this next shloka. So I'll break down the shloka words in verse 14. Prana bandhana leena manasam. Okay, so here prana One. Bandhanat. Second, Leena Manasam. Now, this Bandhana and Leena, Bandhanat and Leena together becomes Bandhana Leena. Okay? Prana Bandhana Leena Manasam. Eka Chintana. Eka Chintanat Nasham Etyadaha. Okay. Okay. Nasham Etyadaha. Okay. So Nasham. Sorry. Eka Chintanat Nasham Etyadaha. Okay. So this is the breakdown. Okay. So please repeat after me. Pranabandhana Linamanasam.
Pranabandhana Leelamanasam.
Ekachintana Nashametyadaha.
Ekachintana Nashametyadaha. Ekachintanat Nashametyadaha.
Yeah. Okay. So, prana bandhanat. So, how did we control pranas? Through pranayama. Prana bandhanat. Okay. So, when the pranas are controlled, when pranas are tied up, the mind has gone to laya. So, leenam means also dissolution. Okay. So, leena manasam is also talking about that manolaya. So when the mind is restrained by pranas, that's what the meaning of this this phrase. Okay, ekachintanat nasham etat yadaha. So ekachintanat. So this mind that has been restrained must be given some activity, because mind abhors vacuum. Okay. When the mind is restrained, what do you need to give? Eka chintana. Eka means ek. Okay. Now, so just give it some activity. No. Here eka specifically is referring to eka. Eka also means what? One.
Sing one.
One, right? One means what? It is talking about ekachintanam means what? It is talking about identity of oneness between Jiva and Brahman. Okay, so the Jiva Brahma Aikyata, or you can say Advaita Chintanam, or you can say Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, like that, right? So that when the pranayama is done, mind is dissolved. At that time, give the task of this Jiva Brahma Aikyata. Why? Because this Ekachintanat Nashametyadaha. Because this is actually going to destroy the mind. Okay. So destruction of mind happens when there is an ekachintana, when you control the mind with pranayama. So manolaya on its own definitely is going to bring some physical health benefits. Okay. No question, right? So that means that if you just do pranayama, you will lower BP. Okay. Probably some other health benefits might also be there. Okay, which is very good. Okay, but pranayama on its own, pranayama is doing manolaya, but on its own, there is no spiritual advancement. So to make the spiritual advancement, what do we need to do? We need to follow up with manonasha. Now, the advantage that mind is under control right now as part of pranayama. So when mind is under control, it is much more easy to give a task. So now, after pranayama, while doing pranayama, you start thinking about Jiva, Brahma, Aikyata, and what will it result in? It will result in Manonasha. And then, when the Ajnana mind ends, it becomes one with Brahman. Why? Because all my vasanas are, where are they running to? They are running to outward world. Now, when this mind dies, what does it mean? The flow. Okay, mind is nothing but the flow of thoughts. What does mind died means? There is nothing to flow in. Okay, there's no more water coming. Okay, it is dried up. The river is dried up. There's no more water. So that means what? And where is this water for this mind? Is those flow of thoughts. And where are these thoughts are coming from? The vasana. So those vasanas are dried up. Okay. Vasanas are dried up means what?
No more accumulation.
So no
New
more.
vasanas.
So vasanas are all based upon the idea that I am the jiva. I am the jiva and I like this, and I think by gaining this object, okay, I am going to be happy. Okay, so like that, it could be this object or some other object or some other object that is there. Now, when those vasanas are gone, the jiva bhavana is gone. Okay, how did the jiva bhavana has gone away? Because jiva bhavana has gone away because we are sorry. Jiva bhavana has gone away simply because it is you are doing Jiva Brahma Aikyata. The thought of Jiva Brahma Aikyata is maintained. That thought that I am Brahman, that thought has removed the thought that I am Jiva. Okay. So now, this Eka Chintana, okay, right? This self-knowledge, okay, is how did we use this self-knowledge? How is this self-knowledge? How did we come to this point in Bhakti Yoga? In Bhakti Yoga, Bhavana Bhida Pavani Mata. That's how Bhagavan said. Bhavana Bhida Pavani Mataha. So Bhavana Bhida means non-difference. Non-difference, Bhavana Abhida. Bheda and Abheda. Abheda Bhavana. Abheda Bhavana is that I am not different from the Lord. That has culminated in self-knowledge in Bhakti Yoga. In here, what happened in this pranayama, along with pranayama, we are putting the thought that I am Brahman, and that is culminating with Manonasha, which in turn is because of which you are getting the enlightenment. Okay? So now, so here, regarding this Eka Chintana, okay, there is a little bit more to know if you are following the Ashtanga Yoga path, the path of Ashtanga Yoga. What is that? Once this Eka Chintana is established, okay, you should move ahead with Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Now, in Yoga Shastra, the focus, when we say Dharana, what does it mean? Oh, you need to focus on a particular physical point, either within the body or a chakra or maybe an external object. Okay, so you need to focus on that, and then it will give you some siddhi. That's what Yoga Shastra says. Whereas for a Vedantin, we are not interested in any siddhi. So you just do dharana or dhyana with that eka chintana. Hold on to that eka chintana. It is not going to give you any siddhis, unfortunately. However, it is going to give you mukti, the ultimate moksha. Okay. So now how do we do that? Okay. If you are following this again, like if you are following the Ashtanga Yoga path, as pranayama is done, instead of, because deshabandhascha chittasya dharana, it says, meaning chittasya dharana, meaning bringing the object and binding it to a particular point. Okay. So now, and whenever that point, like you're losing the focus on that point, you have to go back to pranayama, again breathe. Why? Because I lost focus. That means what? That means that my mind is out of control. So that means I need to control my mind again. So do the pranayama again. In this case, what you're doing is that instead of binding the mind to an object, you have eka chintana. Okay. And whenever the flow, whenever the focus is gone from that object, as in eka chintana, then you do pranayama. Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. So that tatra pratyaya, meaning that thought, ekatanata, meaning single flow, is called as dhyanam. So in dhyanam there is effort. Okay. So as a seeker, as we are moving forward, the thought will become effortless. So now this effortless thought, what happens? Effortless thought, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi. Meaning what? What happened? I am Brahman. I am Brahman. So I am assuming that there are two things, I and Brahman, and then I'm saying that they both are one and the same. So I am the meditator. I am meditating on Brahman, and I'm saying that Brahman is me. So I is involved, Brahman is also involved, and then there's a thought that the Brahman is me is also involved. These three things are there. Okay, so this is called as Triputi. So this Triputi, as you're doing this Ekachintana continually, the difference between I and Brahman is gone. Because the distinction is gone, I am Brahman, that equation is also gone, and what remains is only one. And that one can be I, that one can be Brahman. It doesn't matter because they both are same. When that happens, that is what we call as Samadhi. In that Samadhi, right? Again, we in Dridrishya Viveka, if for those who have studied Dridrishya Viveka, we have Savikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Savikalpa Samadhi in Yoga Shastra is called as Samprajnata Samadhi, meaning there is a thought. Okay. And this Nirvikalpa Samadhi in Yoga Shastra is called as Asamprajnata Samadhi. That means there is no modification in thought because there is actually no thought. Okay. And from the Samprajnata Samadhi to Asamprajnata Samadhi or Savikalpa to Nirvikalpa, that further, like we don't need to do anything. It happens naturally as we practice. Okay. And eventually that thought, there is no more thought. You are in that thoughtless state. Again, in a secular world, when you say thoughtless, meaning you haven't thought through, you don't have a proper mind, etc. It's kind of a negative term. But here, when we say thoughtless state, that means that you are in state where there are no more thoughts and you are in that peaceful position. Okay, so with this, the culmination of the Ashtanga Yoga is complete. Okay, so again, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi wanted to do 4, right? I mean, is going to do 4 paths: karma, bhakti, and the yoga marga, and finally jnana marga. Now, his focus is Jnana Marga. Because focus is on Jnana Marga, these first three margas are given a thought, they were explained and their role is explained, and now he is shifting gears to teach what he really want to teach. Okay, so I'll pause here and to see if you have any questions. So we'll go through 15th shloka. Nashta, so the word Nashtamanasot Krishta Yoginaha, that is the word. Okay, in the one line, one word in the first line, in the 15th shloka. Nashta is first part, Manasa is second, Utkrishta is the third, and Yogina is fourth. And Manasa and Utkrishta together become Manasotkrishta. Okay, so Nashta Manasotkrishta Yoginaha. Krutyamastikim. Krutyam asti. Krutyam. Okay. Krutyamasti. Okay. Kim swasthitim yataha. Okay. This is the breakdown. So one of you please go off mute and repeat after me. Nashtamanaso Krishtayoginah.
Nashtamanasotkrishtayoginah.
Krutyamasti kim swasthitim yataha.
Krityamasti kim swasti tim yataha.
Swasthitim yataha. Okay. Nashta manasa. Okay. Manas. Okay. Manasa is manas. Manas is mind. Nashta manasa means like after the mind is destroyed, then what is such a person considered as? He is considered as a yogi. Okay, because he passed through the Yoga Shastra, right? I mean, like whatever Yoga Shastra said you should do, he has already done. So, is he a simple yogi? No. He is a Utkrishta yogi. Utkrishta yogi means accomplished. Okay, he has become highest yogi. Okay, so through the destruction of the mind, one becomes a highest yogi. Then what about us? We are at the moment Nikrushta yogis. So, Nikrushta actually in I don't know in other languages, but at least in my mother tongue Telugu, Nikrushta is actually a curse word almost. Okay, it's a derogatory word. Okay, not curse word, but derogatory. Why? Because Nikrusha is inferior. Okay, so why you are calling us ourselves as Nikrushta Yogi? It is not derogatory. It is still a good thing because you are, even though you are a lower quality, but why? Because a seeker who is able to come up to Manolaya, meaning temporary restraint, that is better. I mean, like that is that is definitely a progress. Of course, we are not Utkrishta Yogi, but we are on that path. Okay? So, because every Utkrishta Yogi started as Nikrishta Yogi. So, if you are doing pranayama as part of your meditation, okay, and your mind is calmed down a bit, so then you are already a Nikrishta Yogi and you are on your path to become Utkrishta Yogi. So this yogi becomes Utkrishta Yogi because of Mano Nasha. Now, for those people who don't even do meditation, okay, in deep sleep, what happens? The mind goes into Karna Sharira and wakes up again. So this is also a form of Manolaya, But in this particular case, if I sleep, I'm not, and I control my mind by going to sleep. I'm not even Nikrushta Yogi, I'm far below. Why? Because the mind is stilled in ignorance. Okay. Whereas when I'm awake and did pranayama and I still the mind temporarily, that is still better compared to mind which has been, so excuse me, which is resting simply because it went to sleep. Okay. So now for this yogi, Nashtamanasa Utkrishta yogi, now Bhagavan Ramesh is asking a rhetorical question. Krutyam asti kim? Krutyam asti, meaning what is there for him to do? Okay, this is the question. What is there to do? What is the answer when such a question is asked? Oh, he has to do A, B, C, D, and this list of 154 things? No. The answer is that what such a Utkrishta yogi has to do anymore? Nothing. Nothing to be done. So, why? Because swasthitim yataha. Yataha swasthitim, meaning this Utkrishta yogi is established in swasthiti. Okay? What is this swasthiti? Sthiti means?
Staying or living in that
Okay.
state.
Yeah. State. Okay. Swasthiti is you're staying in your own true state. Okay. So that is swasthiti. Right? Now, in this, where did we see this swasthiti in earlier in this book? In the 10th shloka, Bhagavan Raman Maharshi ji said, Pustale mana swasthata kriya bhakti yoga bodhascha nishchitam. So this swasthata has been used, the word swasthata has come in this text already in 10th shloka. And there, what did he say? The purpose of Bhakti Marga, Kriya Marga, Yoga Marga, or Bodha Marga, all four paths is what? Pustale manaha swasthata. Okay. Keep the mind absorbed in your true nature, and that is your swasthiti. That is swasthata. That is what he said. And that swasthata again is appearing in this shloka as swasthitim yataha. But that yogi who has attained everything, he has already established himself, okay, swasthiti, okay, and for such a yogi, what is there to do? Nothing needs to be done. So here, this total fulfillment, kritakrutyata, is when. So when one wakes up from samadhi, okay, now what happens? Okay, so that means that he was in samadhi and he, what you call, he attained uh, uh, fulfillment. Now he woke up, but his mind also came back, right? Yes, of course, yes. Now but this mind is different. This when one wakes up from samadhi, it is called as uddhana. Okay, so that means the mind is woken up, but the seeker came out of samadhi, yes, but this mind is not same as earlier mind. It is not no more under the control of individuality. There is no jivatva bhavana. The jivatva bhavana or the individuality has disappeared. So this mind is in control of this jnani or yogi because it is free of raga, dvesha, bhaya, etc. So now what happened is that in this regard, our Swamiji gave, Swami Advainandaji was teaching this, he gave an example. Earlier, the mind and I are like a bullock cart. Bullock cart? Yes, bullock cart. The interesting thing is that I am the bull and the mind is the one who is holding that whip and beating me up. If I say go this way, I am going this way. If the mind says go that way, I am going that way. So that is how, okay, I was continually following my master, which is my mind. Now, after you reach this state, this is not like a bullock cart. You became the position has shifted. Okay, you are sitting, and your mind is going wherever you want the mind to go. Now today, remember, if you notice, even for 5 minutes, okay, we are slaves of our mind. Okay, whatever our mind says, we do it. Okay, if the mind says get up from here now and go to the fridge, we go to the fridge. Okay, if the mind says okay, take the chocolate or ice cream or whatever and eat, we eat. Okay, so we don't have much control on the mind, rather mind has control. But whereas once this is done, for such a yogi, he has attained Kritakrutyata, and the mind is in his complete control. And now he has nothing to do, yet he is still performing, he or she, whoever, right? Like male or female, doesn't matter. Such a yogi is still performing actions in this world, not to attain something, because they attained everything that they needed, but they are doing it for benefits of others. Okay. So now each jnani can be different. You take Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji, he is a jnani, but he never left Arunachalam. But you cannot say that he didn't contribute anything to society either. Okay? So many people all over the world got inspired by him. Even now, today, we are reading his books and understanding what he's trying to say and try to practice what he's saying. Now, on the other hand, you look at Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda Ji. He did not sit in one place. He traveled all through the globe until his last breath, and he contributed to society. Now, you cannot compare Puja Guru Chinmayananda Ji with Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji. They both are unique and they both contributed in their own way. It is not like one has contributed less or one has contributed more. So in the same way, each jnani is different. So do not compare those jnanis based on what they are apparently doing or apparently not doing. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind. So I'll pause here. I took a little bit more time. Any questions before we close? If there are no questions, shall we close? Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om